Hello my friends, today we're learning Bava Basra Daf Kuf Hey. We're going to start from the Mishnah, Kuf Daled on base at the bottom. So we learned before that there's two types of Lashonis that a person could sell a field. If he says Mido B'chevel, meaning that I'm selling you this size of field and measured, so any little mistake you have to return. And if he says Ein Chosa Ein Yosa, I'm selling you a certain amount, and he says a little bit more, a little bit less, we said until a mistake of a roiva kav for sale, we don't give that back. Says a Mishnah, Kuf Daled on base, if someone said Mido B'chevel ani moichel lecha, Hen Chosa Ein Yetes, he said both Lashonis. He started with the Lashon that he's saying exact measurement, and then he says doesn't matter if it's more or little. Says the Mishnah, what's the din when you have these two Lashonis that contradict each other? Says the Mishnah, Botel En Chesa En Yesa, the Lashon of En Chesa En Yesa, that means they use the second Lashon, is Mivatil, the Lashon they said at the beginning of Midah B'chevel, and therefore we go after the second Lashon, and we go after the Lashon that means I'm not selling you exactly, and if there's a little mistake, it's okay. Says the Mishnah, if he said the opposite, he started Ein Chosa Ein Yesa, he said it doesn't matter exactly, but he said at the end, he said Midah B'chevel, the exact measurement. Says the Mishnah, Kufei Amud Aleph, Botel Midah B'chevel, the last Lashon they used of Midah B'chevel is Mevatel Ein Chosa Ein Yesa. That means we go after the last Lashon he used. Because he has two Lashonis that contradict each other, we go after the second Lashon, says the Mishnah. And says the Mishnah, Divrei Benanas, that's the shitta of bananas. Says the Gemara, Omar Rav Abba bar Mermel Omar Rav, Cholkim Olov Chaverov al Bananas. Even though the banana says that when you have two Lashonis that contradict each other, we go after the second Lashon, Chaverov al Bananas, that means Chachomim argue and they say that the din is that you go after, you say Chalukah, we have a suffix, did he mean Lashon Rishon, did he mean Lashon Achron? So we say Achloiku, and we say that in this case, I suppose you have to give back half the extra. Says the Gemara, Mike Mashmalon, what's the Chiddush of Rav? Tanina, it's a Mefurish Mishnah that there's a machlokes about this. It says, Maisa b'tzipori, there are other stories, it's Pori that's in north of Israel, be'echot shesocha merchot michavero, a person who rented a bathhouse from his friend, b'shnei masal zuvim l'shana, and he said, what will be the price? 12 zuvim for shana. And that means that 12 zuz for Shana. So if the year is an extra year, that is an Ibayah, there's an extra month, so you still have to pay only 12 zuvim. And then he continued and he said, Dinner Zav L'chodesh, every month you're going to have to pay one dinner. So it comes out that if it's an extra month, you have to pay the extra 13 dinner for this year because it's 13 months. So it contradicts each other. This story came in front of the Tanoim. Rab Shimon Gamliel and Rabbi Yossi and they said because we have a suffix on this extra other base, so we say he has to pay half the rent of that month. So we could see it's a clear Mishnah. What do we need Rav to tell me that there's a machlokes about it? Says the Gemara Hima, so I'll tell you what's a chiddush. If we would only have that Mishnah and wouldn't have Rav telling us that there's a machlokes, I might have thought Hosamuti Kilemeima Kahada Bay. Over there you could say that over there you could say Ikelemema Kada Baby, Ikelemema Purusha Komifarish. Over there when he said 12 zuvim a year and then every month one zuz, so there's two ways of looking at it. One way of looking at it, he's contradicting himself. On one hand he's saying 12 zuvim for a full year, and one hand he's saying every month one zuz. And then it will be exactly like our case. But over there there's another way of looking at it, and the other way of looking at it is that you say that he's explaining himself, because literally, when you say 12 zovim l'shana, it means that you only have to pay me schurus would be paid only at the end. So when does he have to pay? At the end of the year, he has to pay 12 zuz. So you know why you added zuz l'chodesh? He means to say, I want you to pay me every month. So he's not contradicting each other, and therefore it's different when by us, when it's literally contradicting each other. By us, it's all exact measurements or not exact measurements. So maybe over there, Chachomim, Rab Shimon Gamliel and Rabbi Yossi hold that the din is Yachloiku, because you could say he's explaining. But by us, because we're saying because it's for sure contradiction, maybe they agree to bananas at Tfois Lashon Achron. Aval Hocha, the Vadei Ka'odabe, for sure it's a contradiction, and therefore, let's say Tfois Lashon Achron, even Chachomim Amoida, Komash Malon, that's a Chiddush Rav. No, that even by us, where it's clearly a contradiction, Chachomim Achoilek on bananas. Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Shmuel, Zu Divrei bananas. This is the words of bananas. Aval Chachomim say, Olach Achar Pocha Shebalashonos. Chachomim hold that we go after the basic of Lashonis, meaning that because the Moicha is Muchzik, so he always wins. If he sold too much, so we say he means Midah B'chevel, he meant exactly, and therefore he gets it back. If he sold too little, we say he meant to say Hen Chosen Yoseh, and therefore it's okay even though they gave a little bit too little. But the Gemara understands, since Shmuel says a different Lashon, Rav said, Cholkim olav chaverav al bananas, says mashma, he's just coming to say a din. But mashma Rav paskins like bananas, but Shmuel, who's saying Zudiver bananas bechachomim, say differently, it's mashma that he holds like chachomim. On that the Gemara asks, Zuveloi svirle, the Shmuel no hold of bananas at Tfois Lashon Achron, v'Rav Shmuel damrit havayu, if someone said to his friend, Kur b'shloishim ani moichel lecho, I'm selling you a kur for 30 coins, if they never measured, they only measured 29 saws, there's 29 saw, there's 30 saw in a kur, and they measured 29, so they could still change their mind, because it was one transaction of 30, and the 30 never happened yet. But if he said kur b'shloishim saw, if he said kur b'shloishim and then he said saw b'sela, each saw is in one sela, rishon kona, each saw that he measured the kinyan schal, so we could see Shmuel holds Tfois Lashon Achron. So if Shmuel holds Tfois Lashon Achron, so why is he saying over here, Aval Chachomim Orim, it's mashma he paskins not Tfois Lashon Achron? So the Gemara Elo Zuvas Virale. No, Enochanami, even though they use a different Lashon than Rav, and he says Zudivur Benanas Aval Chachomim Orim, but it doesn't mean to say I paskin like Chachomim. All he means to say that Chachomim argue, but really he paskins like bananas at Tfois Lashon Achron. Ask the Gemara, Umisvirolei, does Shmuel really hold of Tfois Lashon Achron? V'Omar Shmuel, when did we say that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel paskin that he gives half the month? But Baba Emtza Chodesh, that's talking about where the argument came to Bezdin in the middle of the month of the 13th month, Askinan, and therefore the Soicha is muchzik in half the month because he already lived there, and the shaila is if he needs to pay or not, he's muchzik in the money. In the other half, he hasn't lived there, the masker is muchzik, and therefore we say Amid Momen Echezkose, and that's why we say Cholkim. Avo Bobet Chilas HaChodesh, if the masker, this case came in front of Bezdin at the beginning of the month, Kulei La Masker, we give everything to the landlord because he's muchzik, and if you'd say Tfois Lashon Achron, and if b'soifa chodesh, if he came after he lived in it and he's the shailes, if he needs to pay, kula lasoich, he doesn't need to pay anything. So we could see Shmuel's moikim the din over there because of muchzik, but it's not because of Tfois Lashon Achron. And if Shmuel's doichik, to put it this way, if Shmuel would actually hold like that the din is Tfois Lashon Achron, just 1 second. That means since Shmuel is doichek to put the case of the Mishnah in such a case over there, that it's so much that's because of muchzuk, it must be, he doesn't paskin like Rav and Shmuel that you go after Tfois Lashon Achron. And it must be that he paskins that you go after Chazaka, and we are saying that Shmuel paskins Tfois Lashon Achron. So the Gemara Kufei Amud Beis, Elo lo'ilom zu v'lo yisvirulei. Really, here, when we say Zu Divrei Benanas, it means this is Divrei Benanas, but I don't hold like that, I hold like Chachomim. Or Lechera, what Shveh, if so, we had a kasha from that Shmuel said about the guy who sold the saw b'shloishim, sell b'sela, and then he said the second lashon, and we go after each one that each saw that we measured, we say the Mekach Schal. So the Gemara v'osam v'osam time and you know what's the reason why each saw is sold? Mishum the tofis ocha, mishum the tofis ocha nami hot tofis. Says the Gemara the following: that in the case of when he sold something and he said 30 for 30 and then he said each one for one, since he said this lashon and it's talking about mekach umemkar, it's because the reason is as follows. It's not because we go after Tfos Lashon Rishon and Tfos Lashon Achron. Even if it says the opposite, 1 for 1 and 30 for 30, you'd still say Rishon Kona, because we go after Tofus. Because the one who's muchzik in the money, the one who's muchzik in each kur and kur, once he measured 1 kilo, 1 saw, it's in his hand, and therefore he's muchzik, and therefore we know moitzi it from his hands. And that's really Shmuel argues in Rav, and Shmuel doesn't hold the Tfos Lashon Achron like Rav. Even though that by Saw Besela we said that each one's koina, it's not because Tfos Lashon Achron, it's because Tofus. Omar Rav Huna Amri Bei Rav. Rav Huna said in the name of Rav, of the Beis Medrash Rav, if someone told to his friend, I'm selling you something for Istera, and the Istera is 96 prutis, and then he said Mea Moi, and then he said 100 prutis. He said 96, and then he said 100. So the din is Mea Moi. We go after Lashon Achron and we say he meant 100. If he said Mea Moi Istera, if he said 100 and then he said 96, Istera, he has to pay 96 because we say Tfos Lashon Achron. Said the Gemara, Maika Mashmalon, what's the Chiddush? Tfos Lashon Achron? Amar Rav Chodezimno. Rav already said it. Amar Rav Iva Voya Alsom. Rav said that if he was there by the Beis Merchatz, by the story in Tzipori, he said if he was there, I'd give everything to the maskers, since the masker said in his last Lashon, 1 dinner for each month, so I'd go after the last Lashon and not after the first Lashon. So why does Rav need to say the same din twice at Tfos Lashon Achron? So the Gemara, the Tema Purusha Komefarish Kumash Malon. Over there, like we said before, by the Tzipori, you could understand that it means the reason why we give it to the masker, because he's explaining that it's no contradiction bichlal. He's saying 12 dinar a year, and then he's adding and he's saying every dinar a month because I want to get paid every month. And since he said that, he means to say every month he wants to get dinner, and therefore that's the din over there that it's kulo lemaskir, because it doesn't contradict each other. So it's more of a svara to say it fits in together. He means to explain himself, and therefore it's not midin tfois lashon achron. It's midin because he's explaining himself. But when he literally contradicts each other, like the case over here of when he said 96 prutis and then he said 100 prutis, maybe there where he contradicts, maybe it's a suffix, maybe the din should be otherwise. Kamashman or Rav, that no, even when it's literally contradicting each other, we still say we go after the second lashon, because we always tfois lashon achron. That shittas Rav, that we always say tfois lashon achron. Thank you very much. Regards from Kuala Lumpur. We should be zoicha to peace in the world. Ve'eda kol pol kiato pe'alto here. I'm in a country that if you have an Israeli passport, you can't even come in. Country so far from Israel, the hatred of Islam to the Jewish people is crazy how far it goes. And ve'eda kol pol kiato pe'alto ve'yovin kol yotzo kiato yitzarto. We should be zoicha that the whole world should know Ba'achdus HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they should all, Umas HaOlam should be zoicha to come on Sukkos to Beis HaMikdash like it says in the Nevi'im. Thank you very much.